Yeah, so you know what it is? When you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you're like Drake, right? Very early on in Patrick Mahomes' career, you dropped Take Care. And everybody been waiting for that album to come out again. And so when you drop For All the Dogs, now they pissed off with you because they feel like you're not playing up to the same level, even though you're outselling everybody else.
Only underscore Wireless. Please make sure you include the underscore. And this is only underscore Wireless TV. Of course, please subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Hit the like button for your mans and them. So this is gonna come across as a defense of Drake's new playlist because it's not really an album. It's, 23 songs just kind of fucking loosely strung together. But it's not really a defense. It's more of an attack on Titan. I fucked up. It's more of an attack on Cap. It's more of an attack on hyperbole. Listen, motherfuckers are acting like For All the Dogs is just steaming hot dog shit. And it's not that. If you listen to it with a sober mind, if you go into it with no bias, if you go into it with no preconceived notions of what it's supposed to be, there's some gems in there. There is good music. Now, what I will say is that if we're talking about a ratio, just based on my assessment of the album, because music is so subjective, your opinion may not align with my opinion, and that's completely fair, that's completely logical. But for an album that has 23, 24, 25 songs, I think a third of it is really strong. So, I don't know, call that a D+, a C-, I don't know. But Ryan Clark's point brought me to this. I wanted to do a comparison of Take Care versus For All the Dogs, because obviously I'm aware of Take Care. Take Care was this huge album, heralded, considered a classic, and I would agree that it is a classic from a guy that's not really a diehard Drake fan, admittedly. But there's great music on there, and Drake had a maturity and there was introspection on that album that's noticeably lacking on his most recent entry. So when I listened to Take Care, because I never really sat and lived with Take Care at the time it was released, when I listened to it, I loved Over My Dead Body, True Love, Underground King, Lord Knows. I mean, there's great music on that album. Really, really great music. And at the time, he sounded like a trendsetter. He was, because we had never seen the R&B rapper, at least that iteration, or at least that particular quality of R&B rapper. There had been rappers that were capable of singing, but never somebody that did it at such a high level. Never somebody that was like a two-way defender. You know what I mean? If you want to use that metaphor, and I think I will. When you listen to For All the Dogs, and listen, a lot of people had an issue with the hype, with what Drake said himself, as far as this is the old Drake. And obviously that's what Joe Budden was looking for.
Now that we've heard it and been able to sit with it, I totally agree with that take. Like, it's marketing on his part for the Dogs, and our bad for assuming that was supposed to be us. Mm-hmm. But nothing on there is for us. I'd have been much happier if Her Loss was called For the Dogs and this was called Her Loss. Mm-hmm. This was mostly for the women. So sitting with that, I get that. It's marketing, I understand, fine, but...
Well, and we all know what that led to. That led to a really long-ass paragraph from Drake in response to Joe Budden. But that's a different video. So, the album is bloated. It reminds me of The Massacre. Anybody knows me knows I'm a fan of Curtis. I'm a fan of 50 Cent. And like The Massacre, it has great music. It has some replay value. It has some really strong singles on it. But it doesn't have the same edge. I wouldn't even say that For All the Dogs lacks edge, because songs like Fear of Heights have more edge than anything that you will find on Take Care. A song like First Person Shooter has more edge, has more teeth than anything that you will find on Take Care. 8 AM in Charlotte is a great song. Members Only, I love All the Parties. I mean, there's some really good songs there, but again, if we're looking at the ratio, I say a third of the album is something that I really like versus, everything else was as Joe said, it really wasn't for all the dogs, you know. But besides the fact that the album was bloated, there's some features on there that I could, to me, like the most egregious feature is the Sexy Red feature. And listen, Sexy Red's getting her money, I ain't mad at her, but that feature is fresh brewed vomit. You know what I mean? It's not good. But I don't think that this album is terrible. I don't think that it's something that's not worth a listen. It's just kind of treadmill music. It's Drake showing us that he's kind of good enough to give you the junior varsity version of Drake. You know, he doesn't have to give you the Heisman winner version of Drake. He can kind of be JV Drake and still put out music that he knows is going to stream more. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Is this album going to stream more than every other hip hop album released in 2023, possibly 2024? Of course it is. There's the implications. I think this album is going to take him past Michael Jackson. Either it's going to put him at a tie with Mike, or it's going to take him past Michael Jackson as far as #1 album. So, and you know, his singles are going to do crazy numbers. This is going to be a success. But critically, this is going to be one of his worst received entries in 8 different albums. I believe he released 8 albums. But conceptually, the album doesn't really take you anywhere. There's not a lot of growth. You don't really learn much about him. And again, it's kind of weird because he sounded like a more grown-up Aubrey on his second album. You know, so I guess for the most part, if he releases this album and he doesn't say he's going back to the old Drake, we don't have this sort of perception of it. I don't think the reception would be as fucking, you know, fiery as it is now. You know, it's fire and brimstone. You know, motherfuckers are coming for Drake's neck. And again, it puts me in a weird position where I'm coming across as a Drake defender or a Drake apologist, and that's not really the case, man. I'm just being honest. I listened to the album. I like some joints on the album. So tell me what you think in the comment section. Make sure you check out the Patreon for your boy. You're gonna find some of the racier art, some of the more suggestive art that I can't post on YouTube. Support your mans and them. _Wireless TV out.